We have time and again attempted to explain to the world what is really happening to R. Kelly, making videos every single day to reveal the numerous truths not known to many. Truths that could expose a hidden conspiracy to destroy the R&B King's image in the public eye, brand him the worst predator that ever lived on this planet Earth, and transform his legacy from being one of the most loved artists of all time to the most hated and rebuked African American singer, such that when the time comes to finish him off, no one will doubt he took his own life. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is exactly what happened to Michael Jackson in the days leading to his departure. In some of our previous video releases here at HN Newsroom, we have expressed concerns about Sony's possibility of being the brains behind R. Kelly's current situation, and how the multi-billion-dollar corporation could be financing R. Kelly's current ordeals to wipe him off the music scene, and to make his music catalog as useless to him as possible. While the Mute R. Kelly campaign is blamed on the Me Too movement headed by founder Tarana Burke, it's still unclear who could have funded these activists for people to take to the streets with banners bearing the disturbing slogan, and more so who could have financed the chattering of a Cessna that flew across Sony offices carrying with it a banner that read Mute R. Kelly. No such organization is self-financing, and therefore, there must be an investing partner who is all to gain from this particular project that injected the monies to meet the logistical demands. While some people may voluntarily demonstrate on the streets for causes that affect their daily livelihoods, no one would go as far as chartering a plane with their own funds for a job like this. Looking at the events that led to the day Michael left us does give many the reason to think they could be playing the very same game with R. Kelly. First, they steal your dignity from you and turn the whole world against you, and once you have lost your social protection, they are free to do whatever they want with your life. In 1995, Sony Corporation entered a joint venture with the great king of pop Michael Jackson, in which they formed Sony ATV Music Publishing, in which Jackson's estate owned 50% stake. All was going smoothly with the partnership until Michael disagreed with their agenda and fell out with the company boss Tommy Mottola, and begun a movement in which he discredited the corporation at every opportunity he got to speak to his audiences of thousands. Michael walked around with banners that read "Sony kills music, evil Sony," and also made sure to tell the world he had fallen out with the giant record company. This was a huge threat to the record label, considering it risked seeing young upcoming artists choose to work with other companies on the advice of the legend himself Michael, who they all looked up to, and they had to do whatever they could to stop him. It's after this rift kicked in that Michael Jackson's legal battle started, with accusation after accusation. One will wonder why it took decades for allegations against Michael to start out. This is the very same question always asked about R. Kelly's case, and that has never been answered. Once Michael threatened to leave Sony, he all of a sudden turned into a criminal with multiple accusers, just like R. Kelly. His name was tarnished and to a large extent was stripped of his social protection, as many people believed the narrative the government was selling on Sony's behalf. While he seemingly battled charges in court, the real enemy was the record company, which is believed to have been fueling this injustice. Thankfully, he survived this in the end and was duly acquitted, quickly returning to what he knew best, and that's singing. 4 years down the road, as he was still rehearsing for what was going to be his major comeback in a show he named This Is It, which was to take place in London and reinstate his image to the world as the great star he was, the world received the bad news of his departure. They just couldn't let him live, knowing well he had busted Sony's conspiracy, and was breaking loose to take out a whopping 50% of their gold mine. Once he was gone, Sony quickly bought out his shares against a payment of approximately $750 million, an amount not even a quarter what the total value of his shares was. And all of a sudden, Michael was no more and Sony was off the hook so cheaply. Until today, all the doctor who administered the lethal drug propofol says is, "I loved Michael and I am so sad that he left us."
I loved Michael. I love Michael Jackson. I love him.
The sound of an executionist who actually loved the victim, but probably feels it was beyond him and he probably had to do as he did or else. Watching him narrate his version of what happened will make you realize he did not act alone, but was likely responding to an order from a bigger force. He sounds like he is trying to send a message to the world, to communicate something so delicate, which if he said as is would likely land him into everlasting trouble.
I was his closest friend. You see, indeed I was Michael's doctor, but I spent more time with him as a friend than taking care of him medically.
Looking at what R. Kelly is going through and relating it with what happened to Michael Jackson will give you shivers to imagine he could end up like his fallen friend. Kelly too first fell out with Sony before his legal trouble started. The day he visited the banking hall for the first time and found his account depleted, blaming Sony for taking out his money, is when his problems begun. Remember, the label will never accept any bad publicity that could deter upcoming artists from signing with them. They will therefore do all in their ability to stop any great and influential artist that tries to leave, and because of their exploitative business strategy, they wouldn't afford to pay R. Kelly his billions. It's actually a lot cheaper to lock him up until he breathes his last, what they are trying to do, than to pay him what he deserves. There is no doubt that Sony will therefore finance every campaign against R. Kelly, including the Me Too, and just in case he beats his case, they will likely be out to finish him. While several bloggers at TMZ are trying to sell the new narrative that Michael was seen walk in and out of many doctors' chambers in Beverly Hills days before he left us, all in an attempt to blame his fate on himself, it's important that we read the lips of his killer, Dr. Conrad Murray, and realize he has over the years been communicating in code, and hoping the world would decode it was all a conspiracy in which he only happened to be the pawn of convenience to execute the mission. Take a look.
On June 25th, 2009, I was assigned to Fire Station 71. The alarm sound comes on over the system and says 50-year-old male, cardiac arrest, 100 North Carrollwood.
Yeah, you know, Hannah, there were a lot of things about, and special, like you said, is on tonight at 7 p.m. Who really killed Michael Jackson? The easy answer to that question, I think, when people see that title is, oh, it's Conrad Murray. Obviously, he was tried and convicted and ended up serving about 2 years in prison. That's part of it. Obviously, Conrad Murray, nobody is saying that Conrad Murray gets a pass here, but there were a lot of other people involved. And
thank you for watching today's video, a production of LFN Media, giving you another perspective of issues at hand. We make it our business to keep you updated with the truth amidst the cloud of lies the media wants you to believe. It is therefore important to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon and allow all notifications so that you don't miss out whenever we publish a new video.